meeting to order. First item is the adoption of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the minutes from the July 1st meeting. Any additions or corrections?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any audience members today? Doesn't look like it. I guess we'll just dive right into reports then. Let's start with electric production. Doug.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, Doug.
I do have one action item for you today. It's a budgeted project to replace our personnel lift. This unit's used by our electricians throughout MMU to work on heights that are above normal ladder access. We did open bids for this new unit on Tuesday, June 29th. We received 2 bids. One bid does meet specifications. The other bid, which is actually the low bid, did not meet specifications. It did not have AC power to the platform like we expect. It did not have a work tray, workstation tray. It was just a tad wider than what we expect. Not a lot, but just a little bit. This is going to replace the 23-year-old unit we have. Our intentions are to maybe hang on to that unit for a little bit with some future lighting projects that we've got going on with Unit 10 and 11 building. There's some lighting projects around that we're wanting to do. We're going to hang on to that until some of these projects get done, and then we'll probably sell it on Purple Wave. So my recommendation is a motion to accept the bid from Crown Lift Trucks for a new Genie GR20 personnel lift for a total of $15,510.25.
Man, 30-week lead time, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be out there a little bit, but Pat, talking to Pat, he kind of thought it'd be better to wait for something that was a little better quality, knew a little more about, it'll be worth it, so.
Oh, it's a long time then.
Yeah.
Gee.
So I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Crown Lift Trucks for a new Genie GR20 personnel lift for a total of $15,510.25.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the bids from Crown Lift Trucks for a new Genie GR20 personnel lift for a total of $15,510.25. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Doug, will they deliver that or do we have to go pick it up?
No, they'll deliver it.
Thirty
Not
weeks
many
of
other
driving
updates.
down here.
Yeah.
There's a few updates. The overhead to underground project, the crew has started boring conduit there. We have our primary, secondary main line in. They were boring other secondary lines today. So we'll start on house service conduits soon on that one. Other than that, I don't have much to add unless you have any questions for me.
Anybody have any additional questions for Doug? Thank you, Doug. Move on to water treatment with Travis.
Morning.
Travis.
I do have one action item, is on the door replacement project. After putting that out to bid 3 different times and everything, this last time we only received 1 bid and it came in way over budget. Then I went in and contacted several of the vendors that we sent the bid specs out to and everything, kind of questioned them on why they didn't put in. And the majority of them that I contacted, basically they only did overhead doors, garage doors, and in which these are all walk-through doors and everything that I was trying to do. And then some of the other companies that I contacted, they did those type of doors, but they either didn't have installers at the time or they don't do installations. So I think right now, since we only received the 1 bid, it actually came in almost $50,000 over what I had budgeted. And which he even said that the metal price and everything, it's a moving target. You have no idea what the cost is gonna be or anything. And then that was part of the stipulation he also had in his bid that, well, with prices, this is what we can guarantee for this amount of time, but it may be more. So at this time, I think, reject the bid and rebid at a later date. Which I did put new paint on all the doors last year, everything. They're not really leaking or anything. So I think we'll get by for a while, especially with that type of cost for doors. That just seemed a little ridiculous to me, but.
Sorry, Ray.
I know, I was looking forward to it.
Do you know, any of these, potential bidders well enough to maybe have them contact you if the market situation changes?
Possibly one, that was the thing, only had one that actually showed up on site to even look at the doors and everything, and they were actually the only one that put in the bid. But yeah, he said with prices right now, the way they're going, he said, good luck. So,
Was that budgeted for this year?
yes,
It was.
it was.
And your 25 was your budget?
25 was what I had budgeted.
How many doors we looking at?
It was 10 of them.
10.
Which, yeah, for 10 doors, 2 of them are actually, 10 doors total, and 4 of them were double doors. And they're really nothing out of the ordinary type of door either.
Do you need to do anything to reject the bid or just take no
Yeah,
action on it?
I would. I move that we reject the bid and rebid at a later date.
Second.
Motion to reject the bid and rebid at a later date. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good luck next time.
We can do better, I think.
That's a lot easier. Just-
Then on the basic valves on number 1 and number 2 secondary, I did send out some spec sheets and some photos to some of the vendors. And I have received some quotes back on those. I sent them and updated some pictures of the actuators and valve themselves and everything, so hopefully I'll get some more quotes in and everything, which sounds like I had a phone call as soon as I left the office, so I had questions already, so hopefully we'll get something on that here fairly soon too. Then happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody got any additional questions for Travis? Thank you, Travis. Let's move on to finances of Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Morning.
Morning.
I do have an action item there for painting and replacing the vinyl siding and the garage doors at the business office. We did open the bids back on the 29th. I know we sent several out, but we did receive 2 bids back. Actually, Septagon was, I think, I had several call and say they just weren't going to bid because of staffing and pricing. Septagon did show up and I walked around the building with him. And so after opening the bids, I think Septagon is the way to go. I think they were going to start within 60 days once the bids accepted, and then would be complete within 60 days once they start. It was budgeted for $50,000, but that was originally just to paint and replace the vinyl siding. They're actually going to, instead of putting vinyl, we're going to put concrete board. So in the future, we can just paint it. And they're going to replace the 2 garage doors and then add the 3 that are covered up right now with vinyl siding. After talking with Jeff, it just seemed to make sense to we have all that space in there we're really not utilizing. So if we eventually want to use that space, it's there. But my recommendation is to accept the bid from Septagon for $67,835. Answer any questions.
So actually the bid's pretty good considering the doors.
When we didn't get anybody to show up. Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
Wow.
yeah. Compared to Travis's, it
Yeah.
doesn't make, yeah, I know.
This bid actually looks really good.
That's what I thought.
That's very good price for it.
And they'll do a good job.
And it needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move to accept the bid from Septicon Industries for painting and replacing vinyl siding along with the addition of new garage doors to the business office in the amount of $67,835.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the bid from Septicon Industries for painting and replacing vinyl siding along with the addition of new garage doors to the business office in the amount of $67,835. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I do have the May financials in there. I did forget to include the financial statements, so I handed those out to you guys. Really, overall, it was a pretty good month in May for us. Really, the highlights, I think, is if you look there on that second page, back page there, our power bill for May we paid was only $376,000, which usually runs between 900 and $1 million plus. And really the reason for that was we had that carryover credit of 110 from February. And then in March, Unit 6 ran for 23 days. So we had a $424,000 credit. So we were looking at about a $900,000 bill, but we ended up only paying 376.
Keep them running.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so actually that carried over into our cash. Cash for the month of May, we were up 411,000 overall from April, which is good. Operating was up 320,000 of that, which most of that obviously was from the electric for the month. Other than that, everything seemed to be pretty standard quo. Be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Have you started your fund for generator maintenance?
We have, yeah, yeah. And you'll see in the disbursements too, we had a payment to Burns and McDonald in there for that phase 2. So we actually had to use some of the, I used that out of the wastewater reserve fund there at 330. Originally had that for Nolan's truck, but just using that now. We should have some time to build that back up for by the time we pay for Nolan's truck. So
The generators were in the disbursements from the last meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, we've already started that.
yeah.
If you still got that copy, or I can get you a copy.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, we have started that.
And month to month, I'll let you guys know as we put money in there what it was.
Very black and white. If anybody has any questions, it's pretty easy to read. So. Anybody have any more questions for Tony? Thank you, Tony. Let's move to IT and broadband. Jim?
Jim's not here.
Jim's not here.
Try to answer any questions if you have any.
It's a nice looking truck.
Very nice.
They were very happy with it. I think they drove it 20 miles down the road, so it held real nice, drove real nice. So I think it'll serve our purposes very well.
Does most everybody have a license to drive that?
Yeah, it's a requirement. John Carter should have a Class A.
Okay, so that's good.
We've got bids out for the plow. I think they got those out Monday this week, so we're continuing to move that direction.
You'll still have to get a trailer.
Yes.
How have the cameras been working out the park?
Pretty good. I think we're gonna do one more, actually maybe 2 more. One, there will be a license plate reader. It's gotta be a little bit different type, but, I think so far so good.
Did I see something about the Coleman situation? That's all taken care of?
Yeah, I've got that in my.
Okay,
phone.
that's where I
Yeah,
saw
it'll
it.
be in my phone.
More questions for Jeff, for Jim? Jeff? Underground facilities, Grant.
Morning, gentlemen.
Grant,
I don't have a lot to add. We have received some material to complete the fence repair to the southwest lift station. Flood damage got that pretty good. Several posts and a lot of splices and whatnot. But they are we do have possession of those now. And crosstown tie, we are in the process of disinfecting that as we speak. Should be, hope to start putting services in middle of next week. Other than that, that's all I got unless the board has any questions.
Business as usual, by the way. Questions for Grant? Thank you, Grant. Electric production, Carl.
Morning, John.
Carl.
Carl.
Just a couple brief updates here. The concrete pad at Unit 6 is poured. Got that in between the rains there. We did complete the continuous parameter monitoring system audit yesterday. Everything went well with that. You can see the picture at the bottom, the demolition that they kind of raked the dirt out there to dry. There's a few pieces you can see it kind of in the middle on the right side there. That's a steam drum, the mud drum, and then kind of at the bottom right that you can't see is part of the Unit 5 turbine. Those are all pieces that are too heavy to haul, so they're bringing in a rope saw and cut those things in half to be able to get them out of there. There's a little bit of scrap left back in the old coal yard, and they got the aluminum pile out. There's still some concrete structures they've got to take out. The old coal pit, that one pier for the toll conveyor that's in the middle of the parking lot on the east side, a little brick building. They're getting close. I think they're going to start grinding concrete to gravel Monday. And Grant's guys been going around plugging the sanitary sewers that won't be used anymore. Looks like we're probably on schedule to meet the deadline, the date there, August 31st for their completions. That's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Cardboard's looking good.
It is, it keeps going up. And that's
Maybe on a stockpile.
kind of the nature of it, that it's good to be in electric production.
When they grind all that down, that's going to coal yard, is that right?
Yes,
That all that will?
all that they have is stockpile back here for the Unit 5 cooling tower is at.
It's getting pretty full out there at the dump site.
Yeah, they pulled a lot out there, for sure.
They're gonna use some of that for drainage as well, I think, in the actual coal yard. I think when we talked about drainage and using some riprap. Try to control the water.
Yeah, we're still on that. We got together Tuesday and had our coordination meeting, talked about how to landscape it, which way to slope, what part of the property to get rid of the water and shed the water, and then also to keep anything that could leak from Unit 6 or anything we still have on the property to the east side where it goes into the settlement ponds. So we get that all worked out for us as well on the landscape. They've been a little bit work.
Any questions for Carl? Thank you, Carl. Wastewater treatment, Nolan?
Morning.
Nolan?
Some updates on, Pat, just talked with RS Electric, they hope to have a new transformer for the Edwards in today. And installed it there tomorrow. Yesterday, we did receive, 6 of the 8 motors that were being rebuilt or replaced. So the guys are actually working on putting that back in the building. Doug's guys actually just powered that building up this morning, so. Pat's guys are kind of running around checking stuff. Gonna be checking more stuff tomorrow on that. After talking with Brian, I was actually gone Monday afternoon when Zero Turn had its issues. That was actually not a warranty part. It was fairly cheap bearing replacement, but just let you know that was wrong. But it was all the parts came in and it was put back in service yesterday. So that's about all I have unless you guys have any questions.
What was the arrival date on that spreader truck? No one remember.
Initially, the bid actually I think said 8 months. Talking with the guy, he thought it'd be more like 6 or 7. But I mean, I think we'd have to kind of worst case plan for end of January.
Probably like every other truck just sitting in the parking lot waiting on a chip right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I was just today, car dealership, Carl's car, had no chips. It just sitting, it's what they've got, and they don't have a whole lot. Just sitting there.
Any other questions for Nolan? Thanks, Nolan. HR, Megan.
Morning.
Hey, morning.
Just a quick update, I think on the annual performance appraisals, all of those have been presented now. So that's complete. And just want to commend IT and broadband. As of the 7th, they've reached 4 years without any reportable injuries. And also, as of this morning, folks at the wastewater plant have reached 11 years. So congratulations to all those parties. Appreciate their efforts. Nothing more important than going home at the end of the day safe.
Questions for Megan? Thanks, Megan. Jeff.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hey, morning.
I do have one action item this morning. USDA round 1 grant, conduit installation bid. Coleman's Plumbing did have the low bid and has met all bid requirements, so I'll go ahead and move forward with the contract for them. Josh Taylor's working on that, and it'll go to the council for council's approval Monday. What we need to do here is just recommend that we move forward with that bid. So he is a local bidder, which is a good thing. It's good to keep those dollars here locally. I think he's looking at starting sometime here around the end of August. So things are finally starting to move forward with this project. You know, we're pretty excited about it.
I make a motion to request city council to authorize the mayor to sign the conduit installation contract for USDA broadband grant number 1 with Coleman Plumbing in Marshall, Missouri, in the amount of $592,000.
Second. A motion and a second to request the city council authorize the mayor to sign the conduit installation contract for USDA broadband grant 1 with Coleman's Plumbing of Marshall, Missouri, in the amount of $592,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen. Are doing some work on round 2 closing documents. We're getting close on some of that. I think we're down to probably what, 3 or 4
Yeah,
items.
I got the ACH form.
Okay.
So
Waiting on a couple things there. Hoping to wrap that up. Hoping once we kind of get through first round into the second, things will start going a little bit quicker. So working on that as well. Moving on, the wastewater treatment plant flooding, that's kind of the big one here. We did have a tour. SEMA came down and did a tour of the plant, evaluate the damage. Would like to thank Tony Day. He coordinated that. He's a local emergency management director. So that was a long day for him, taking those agencies around to different areas to evaluate the damage. So, had some communication. I have sent pictures. We did have staff take pictures of most damaged equipment. We did have some at the water treatment plant to one of the lime settling ponds, bank erosion. Grant had a fence, Southwest Lift Station. We've sent information and pictures on pretty much all the damage we've had, not just at the plant, but utility wide. Been some questions back on the dump trucks. I responded to him there this morning. Just kind of a wait and see. I mean, provide them information as needed and kind of see where we end up. I haven't reached back out to Tony Day yet to kind of see where we're at as far as having that disaster declaration declared. So I think we've done all we can do at this point. We'll start having some bills come in, and we will have to use our insurance reserves. It's just my hope that we'll be able to replace those funds with some type of assistance. So kind of doing all we can there. Did include, this is June, so this is our first, this is our move to a new building from our power pool. You can see there's a draft there on the right upper hand portion of the stat sheet. We'll get these monthly. And you can see hour ending on the left-hand side. You got June 21 and everything's an hour ending. It's military time, but you can see the day of the week and what your power costs are early in the morning and then later in the evening. So it looks like you've got anywhere from $16 a megawatt hour at hour ending 3 on Friday to $61 a megawatt hour ending 17 on a Wednesday. So that's how we are currently buying power. When we get our bill, we will see that average. And if you look here, the all-in rate for MOPEP was $59.69 per megawatt hour. Marshall's was just a little bit lower because of our usage patterns. And also, I think I want to mention the generation by source. If you see coal at 64%, part of the reason for this drop was we had a contract that wasn't the most favorable. There was a coal contract for 100 megawatts. Before that, our coal was probably around 80% of our portfolio generation by source. You can see that has been dropped to around 64% now. We've replaced that with, the pool's replaced that with some wind and some gas energy. So that accounts for the biggest part of the drop was moving away from that contract. I'll try to include these monthly on our stat sheet for you guys. Tony and I did have a conference with TOEP on our time of use rates. We're continuing to work on that. We're kind of hopeful that in a year we'll be able to, we've got software, we don't have billing capabilities yet to do this. But this is the direction we're moving, is to give customers an opportunity to take advantage of market prices. So kind of a change there. I think it's good. Like I say, $50. We were at 58.70, I think, and that was before transmission. So even with the transmission added on there, I think transmission was $1.70 a megawatt hour. We're still below 60. And I think prior to that, we were averaging about 67 or 68 a year. So this was that, when we did the 7.5% decrease, we did that early because we knew this was coming. So things were so far working out. A little bit, Burns McDonald, working with them a little bit on the phase 2, the treatment plant. Hope to have some firm pricing here pretty quick. So I've given them some of that. So they're getting bids from vendors, even though it's a design build. It's still a competitive bidding process. They still go out. Rather than them design it and then come in at the end and then bid everything, they get those bids and competitive pricing throughout that process. So we're still getting that, but I think the benefit from that, I kind of like, we've never used this before. I kind of like what I'm seeing because you're going to get the vendors involved with the, design before it's complete. So you're going to hopefully eliminate change orders. You've got the guy that's building it, working with the guy that's designing it, and providing feedback. So, they're going out and getting those now. Some of the HVAC stuff, some of the smaller stuff, we did provide information from local vendors that we thought, we would like to involve in that competitive bidding process where hopefully we can keep some dollars local in the community. So hopefully some of that will be able to work itself out there as well. But, moving forward there, Grain Belt project is moving along. I think we're around 50% of their easements, a little less than 50%. And that's through negotiations. They haven't, even though the Public Service Commission, they have the authority to use eminent domain if needed, they haven't had to use that. Everything's been negotiated to date. So that's moving along good. That'll be another, positive, I think, when we get some, effect on this stat sheet down the road. So it's, I think they're moving the right way. Be glad to try to answer any questions.
Did, OPEB ever end up buying the solar?
They're in process of that. There's 10 that they're gonna buy. They haven't finished that yet, but that's still something, we're moving forward on. So, well, they've got Butler, they're looking at the rest of these. So there'll be some debt service on those. But, Butler, I think they were able to pay for with some, cash on hand or some reserves they had. So, yeah, that's part of our portfolio here as well. And that should help lower some costs a little bit too. Not a lot, but some, every little bit helps. If you see there, we're just 2% solar. So
That's why I was asking.
yeah.
Still a lot of pushback on the grain bill.
It's losing steam. I mean, there is some, but I don't know that I think they've tried 3 times, to kind of circumvent the ruling of the courts and the PSC. I'm going through legislation and they've come up short. So I think, it's there, but it's not. It's not near the support it had. I think a lot of when I went to some of the testimony early on, I think there was a lot of misconceptions and some things that people didn't quite understand. I think a lot of that over time hopefully has been cleared up and when you look at really all the facts, I think it makes more sense. It's not as bad as what it initially appeared.
I assume that would have some kind of impact on your generation by source too, because isn't that primarily a lot of
Yes.
wind from out in Kansas?
Yeah, that's a 2,000 megawatt line. MOPEP's already secured or has, will have access to up to 500 megawatts of that. And then there's been talking to a wind farm company in Kansas as far as a power purchase agreement. Yeah, no, that will definitely, and what that really helps is you've got one transportation source. If you pay for transmission, it's like toll roads. Wherever your energy has to come from, every time you go through a toll gate, you've got to pay a toll. Well, there's no toll gates on this line from Kansas to Missouri. I mean, it's a pretty cheap transportation rate. So that makes it, that's really one of the bigger benefits. I mean, we can get access to the low cost wind now from a power purchase standpoint. Getting it here is the tough part. You run into congestion on different parts of the system, transmission system, and then you go through, just to kind of help explain all those toll gates, and pretty soon your transmission charges, add up, where this will be not just access, but low-cost transportation to get it here. So it's kind of a win-win.
Did the flooding change anything with Burns and Mag, the water plant, wastewater plant?
No, it hasn't. No, we're still on schedule, for there. We may look at some mitigation deals when they come down. They haven't made a trip. I know they're getting close to making a trip on the North Street Pump Station project. And they may want to go down and look at some things at the treatment plant when they're here as well, so.
More questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. Let's move on to cash disbursements.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
No.
Tony took a vacation. Look what happened to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to let him take any more vacation.
It's not the highest. I went back and checked. I was like, it's got to be close.
Have we gotten any more bills from the Ebb Center?
Not other than the one we paid.
The one we paid.
Correct. Yeah.
And if we do, I'll put those in here just to kind of keep you guys
Yeah.
in the loop. I just think that,
Are they doing anything?
I haven't been out
Yeah,
there.
they're doing some work. They took down the group home in the back, and then the power plant building is in the process. of
Two group homes are, what are those cottages over there? They're
Those are
two-
the big brick buildings just
No.
past the main complex.
What are the wooden
Those were the group homes.
group
The
homes?
wooden ones down kind of
Yeah.
at the lower
yeah.
level were group
I
homes.
think they've taken two of those down that I could see.
We can go push those down.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much. How many are there? Do you know?
Probably a dozen,
That's back behind that wooded area. A lot
and
of
there's
them.
probably 6 or 8 of them,
Okay. You can hear them working, but you can't. They got you so fenced off.
You could see the power plants coming down from the lake
Yeah,
over there.
yeah.
There on that last page is that Burns McDonald I was referring to.
Well, I move we pay the bills and Tony no longer gets any more vacation.
Second.
There's been a motion to pay the bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, say.
Good old way.
Is there any other business for the good board? No? Next board meeting will be Thursday, July 29th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Everybody good to the 29th, that we know.
As long as you